We have a lot to win by making other people feel important. I mean, hey, it's even a rule in Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So there's no question then that this is something we gotta pay attention to. And I kind of figured this out a few weeks ago because I went to a guy to pick up parcels. I order stuff and I always go to the same place, and the same guy greets me. And he's seen me now, right? Well, I can see it in his face. He recognizes me every single time. Yet when I come there, he always asks for my ID, because that's something you need to check, right? Oh, your ID card? Okay, thank you. And I'm like, at first I was, why do you even do this? You know who I am. Why do you always? Because that's another thing. He always checked the card so closely. He put on his glasses and just examined every single detail on my ID card. And I wondered, like, why? I was here yesterday, now you're checking my card again as if I'm not some kind of criminal, as if I'm smuggling some stuff. But I then realized that, hey, this guy has a small grocery store in a small part of town. He doesn't have a lot going for him in life. So for him, checking people's ID cards is his way of feeling important. His way of feeling that he has authority over something. That he has a role to play in this functioning society we live in. And when I realized that, I was no longer upset about him taking his extra time and checking my card. But I was more like smiling because I knew what was going on. And with this in mind, I entered a meeting, a meetup about investing in stock markets and such. So we had different people come there and talk to us and such. And we had this one guy, a stockbroker, who had a pretty good presentation. And then afterwards, when everything was said and done, and people were leaving, and we stood outside of the hall to talk and such, I saw this guy, the stockbroker. He stood there alone and kind of held a glass, you know, this party meme. You hold a glass to your body like this. You're so insecure, so you hold your glass pretending that everything's fine, right? Yeah, that was him over there. So I decided, hey, I had no real interest in talking to him because not really. I had better things to do. But at the same time, I understood how he felt. That he was this important person that came here to talk to us and have a lecture in the stock markets and such. And now nobody talked to him. So I walked over to him and struck up a conversation. And I asked some things about his career and such. And quite quickly I realized that, hey, this guy wanted some attention. This guy wanted to feel important. Because he didn't ask me anything. It was just me asking questions to him and asking for him to elaborate on things. And after a while, more and more people came to us. So he was talking a lot and people became interested. And then after a while, I could exit the conversation and actually get going with my life. But I did that for him because I realized, hey, this guy wants to feel some kind of authority. That, hey, he knows this much about stocks, investing and such. Okay, let's give him that. Let's make him feel good. It's just a fundamental. We need this component in our lives. Because without feeling important, without feeling any sort of authority, what is life gonna be really? That's when you feel that you're a pawn on a chessboard. I mean, we may be anyway with these elites controlling us or whatever people say. That's at least what they tell me. But we want to feel that we in some sort of domain have authority, that we can control and decide things. Like that guy I go and pick up parcels at. Like that's his realm, that store. He is the owner, he is the guy that has the authority when people enter that area. I had this friend a few years back. Like we've been living on our own different places since a few years back, so I don't really know him that well, but he was a very good friend. And this guy was such a popular guy. He had everything going for him. In fact, if you ask the girl on the street or in class or wherever, they'd most likely say he's a 9 or 10 out of 10. That's how good he is. He's good looking. He has a lot of things going for him. This guy was often arrogant around us in the friends group. He was the one that led us, deciding a lot of things. And of course, that's because he was such a popular guy. He felt his status on an everyday basis. So this is a guy that could act pretty much however he wanted, be whoever he wanted. Yet one behavior of his really perplexed me for some time, but now it just speaks volumes of the character of his. So when we were out in our friends group, going to restaurants or some kind of place, let's say we're going to a restaurant. So we enter this restaurant and this guy, like, you know, some people just enter a place to eat lunch or dinner, and they just own the place. They just take it over because they have so much power, so much status that they can do that. And this guy was certainly no exception to that rule. He could go in there, he could dominate the area. He could tell the owner of the restaurant, okay, this is how we want it. Okay, you come and you serve us at this table. He could do that. But this is what's so interesting. This guy was the absolute best person every single time at giving people the respect they deserved. So no matter if we entered a small shabby restaurant where the owner was overweight or whatever, he still paid so much respect to that person. He still made that person feel important. Like he came down in tone, relaxed a little bit more, and he really spoke to this restaurant owner in such a way, showing the restaurant owner that, hey, I'm below you in order, in rank. And he got very well liked for it. You could see these people, the owners, the whatever, they shined up because they saw that this guy who could do whatever he wanted, essentially, just gave the authority to the owners, to these people. And that really inspired me, of course, because hey, if this, according to girls, 10 out of 10 guy can do this, then surely I can do that as well. So that's a good habit to have, that okay, if you enter a grocery store or any kind of place, if you enter a classroom, just pay respect to the person that has the authority there. Make them feel important, make them feel as if they have control, as if they are the master of that area. Because that's going to go a long way in making that person feel good, and that person is then in turn going to like you more. It's a trade where you give and you get back a lot. And like I said, if this rule is in this book, then we sure gotta pay attention to it, don't you think? Just a thing that I need to keep in mind, that always let people have their authority because they deserve it. And it's fun to make people feel good. It's very fun. It feels good. I'll see you again, my friend.